I'm making chicken nuggets at home from scratch. Let me show you how I do it. I have about 8 ounces of Panko breadcrumbs, 1 pound of ground chicken breast, and 4 cups of buttermilk, along with some spices like salt, pepper, and a little olive oil to put it all together. Alright, let's show you how it's done. Okay, we're going to start out first by making a buttermilk brine for our nuggets, and this is our 4 cups of buttermilk, and I want to have it highly seasoned. So I've already pre-measured a few spices here. I have 1 teaspoon of ground garlic, onion powder, and smoked paprika. So I'm going to put that into our container here. And then along with that, again, very seasoned, so I'm going with a tablespoon of kosher salt here, sort of nice and briny, and about a teaspoon of some nice coarse ground black pepper, just to, again, give it lots of flavor. We'll give that a little bit of a mix up, make sure that those spices get distributed and dissolved. And then we want to have a container where our nuggets can sort of rest for a little bit. So I'm going to use just this baking dish and sort of let all of our buttermilk dredge just sort of hang out here. Okay, so this is our ground chicken. I've just fluffed it a little bit with a fork, added in a pinch of salt and pepper, and a couple tablespoons of olive oil to give it a little bit of fat and richness. It's pretty lean at this point, and we want to make sure that there is a little bit of moisture and body to these chicken nuggets. We're using such a lean meat. I'm just working through the last bit of our ground chicken. We added some olive oil to give it some richness and salt and pepper. I'm rolling it into what looks like a 1-inch meatball, and we're going to let it hang out in our buttermilk brine for at least 20 minutes. If you're going to let it hang out any longer, go ahead and throw it in the fridge. We're going to bake these off right away. And although it looks like a meatball right now, it will, I assure you, become a nugget shape just shortly. Alright, last one. And now we'll work on our breading after a hand wash. Okay, I'm just taking one of our baking sheets and put a couple tablespoons of olive oil on the sheet, and I'm going to rub it over the edges and the bottom. Clean hands. And then I'm going to take our Panko breadcrumbs and lay them out over that oiled sheet and make sure that they pick up some of that oil. A little bit of a toss. We're going to put the breadcrumbs in the oven for just a few minutes, maybe 5 or so, to give the toasting a little head start. Just getting our panko out of the oven, it's got a nice golden to it, a good head start for our nuggets. So we're going to toss it with that little bit of untoasted panko, and we'll do our final dredge assembly and get our nuggets back in the oven. Just working through all of our chicken nuggets, taking them out of our buttermilk brine. It's been about 20 minutes that they've been in there. Working them through our somewhat toasted already panko breadcrumbs, and then just giving them a little flatten out, a little bit of a pat to flatten them down while they're in the breadcrumbs so they have that traditional nugget shape. You could make these really any size you want. If you wanted a chicken patty, you could do that instead of just a nugget. And I've also been very successful with using ground turkey instead of ground chicken. So lots of good options here. Once we toss them in the oven, they take anywhere from about 12 to 15 minutes, or just until they're fully cooked. Oh, smells great. And looks great too. Okay, our chicken nuggets are out of the oven. I've let them cool slightly and I can't wait to try them. But I have a lot left over which would feed a crowd, or we'll throw them in the freezer in a zip top bag. They reheat beautifully. But let me try one. I have a little dipping sauce, but I really want to see what they taste like on their own. They have a little bit of crunch from that panko, really good seasoning, and the chicken is nice and moist because we added that olive oil and soaked it in the brine. I hope you try to make your own chicken nuggets from scratch at home, and I hope you enjoy.